later. You understand? Boy, no boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Batson is here. Dr. Batson, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, son. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. I cannot complain.
Very
I
nice.
hope the traffic was not too bad.
Yeah.
I hope you will. Let me just say nothing about you here this morning.
You really can't. Yeah, you understand?
Yeah,
Nah, I actually did a Zoom last night for this group. So they work me. So I worked yesterday and then I came and I did this Zoom from 6 to 8. Yeah. Right. So when I got up this morning, I was like, okay. And then I have after our 2-hour broadcast, I have some consultations to do with the SDA 7 Days Adventists having their health fair, but of course we're doing it digitally. Right. So that would be maybe our next 4 hours. So
yeah, so when you rested first.
yeah. I'm gonna get some rest this coming week because I actually in Tobago Monday and Tuesday too. So yeah. But you know what they say. No rest for the wicked.
There you go, boy. I know the feeling.
You understand? You understand? So pleasant good morning. Again, Dominic, a pleasant good morning to the listeners of Sky 99.5. Always a pleasure to be here. Pleasant good morning to our Facebook family. So we're going to have a very interesting program and discussion today, as usual. I promised to touch on something that I haven't spoken about in quite a while, and that is the topic of inflammatory response, but inflammation to the extent of actually dealing with autoimmune conditions. Simply because you find a lot of persons now being told, listen to me, you have connective tissue disorder, you have fibromyalgia, you have lupus or something resembling lupus. We ain't really sure, but you did an ESR, which is the erythrocyte sedimentation ratio, which is the test that they normally do to determine how high the inflammatory response is in the body. So you may have done this test by your doctor, and the doctor is telling you, listen to me, you have some sort of inflammatory condition. You have an autoimmune disease. And of course, when people hear autoimmune, the only thing worse than autoimmune is cancer, at least in person's mind. So what is that really saying? How does that translate as regards to how the body functions? And that's something that a lot of persons don't understand. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to speak about how the gastrointestinal system truly impacts health and health from a general perspective. Because I think a lot of persons don't understand the close relationship of the gastrointestinal system as it relates to the other organs and organ systems in the body. Because we're fully cognizant of the fact that from the basic building block of the human body, we have cells. The cells give you tissues. Tissues give you organs. Organs give you organ systems. And organ systems give you the body. So we know we have about 11 organ systems in the body. I can never remember all of them off the top of my head. I know we have the cardiovascular system. We have the lymphatic system, endocrine system, musculoskeletal system, sexual reproductive system. We have the immune system. We have the lymphatic system. What else we have again, boy? Right. So basically 11 in all. Right. Now those So there are systems that overlap because, for example, your liver as well, the liver can fall under the, yes, definitely, under the gastrointestinal system, because your liver produces a number of things. It produces bile, which is responsible for the emulsification of fat, which is dealt with in the gallbladder. But it is also in the endocrine system as well. Yeah, it would fall in that system as well, right? And then you have your lymphatic system, which is primarily a great aspect of your immune system. So you have things like your spleen, your tonsils, your what again, boy? Your thyroid, right? Yeah. So you have different aspects associated, as I said. So you have overlapping of organs from one system to the other. But the poignant point that I want to make is how important the gastrointestinal system is as it relates to other systems in the body, especially as it relates to inflammatory conditions, autoimmune conditions. So let's break it down a bit. We know with the digestive system, it is responsible for two things primarily, which is one, the evacuation of waste or the elimination of waste through the colon, as well as for the assimilation or the digestion of food. The issue is that with that assimilation situation, you find that it is vitally important that proper assimilation take place in order for your body to utilize nutrients from the food that you eat, right? And then the proper elimination of waste, because if we have build-up or backup there, we're going to have a lot of pathogens, different virus, fungus, protozoa, worms that can actually leave the gastrointestinal system, burrow through the small intestines, get into the blood, and then from the blood, get into different parts of the body. And that is how autoimmune conditions are actually created. So rheumatoid arthritis, for example, which I did touch on last night, is a particular condition where parasites have left the intestines via the small intestines, get into the bloodstream, and from the bloodstream, they get into the bones. So you see that, right? There's a whole transport system in the body. But it has gone into a place that it should not have gone into, which is the bones. Your bones are not supposed to have parasites. So you end up with an inflammatory condition, you end up with swelling, you end up with pain, and then you're told that you have rheumatoid arthritis, which can be very deforming, it's very painful. But the reason why it is painful is because you have pathogens, whether it's bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoa, worms that have left the intestines and gone into your bloodstream. And from your bloodstream, they have taken up residence in your bones. And that is fundamentally what arthritis is. So we're going to discuss later on how we're going to correct that. But going forward, as it relates to other autoimmune conditions like fibromyalgia, diabetes is also an autoimmune condition. Lupus is an autoimmune condition, connective tissue disorder. But I'm here to tell you this morning that if you have been diagnosed with those things, part of your diagnosis is incorrect, because the diagnosis is not really important, especially when you're dealing with autoimmune conditions. You don't really want to know if you have lupus, if you have connective tissue disorder, if you have something resembling lupus, cousin, brother. You don't want to know. And I'll tell you why you don't want to know and why that is irrelevant. Simply because you're not addressing the root cause of the problem. The autoimmune condition is a symptomology of a greater problem. And that's all it really is, the symptomology of a greater problem. So we don't deal with symptomologies. Symptomologies are important, yes, but they're not that important. Because a lot of times the symptomology just confuse the thing. So the poor doctors go in and they're looking, they're sending you to do all kind of tests. They're doing CT scan, MRI, they're doing swab, they want to cut out piece of you and send it to do biopsy. All of that, irrelevant. You know why? Because it's like trying to figure out how many mosquitoes, it's like let me give you a simple analogy. So it's like you take a container of water, because we know during rainy season, you're not supposed to have containers outside to full water, right? Because when you full water in containers, what do? They harbor mosquitoes. Good? So let me ask you a question. If you put a particular size container outside, could you with sheer determination and sheer accuracy, I should say rather, determine how many mosquitoes are going to come and live in that water? Could you give a precise and exact figure as to how many mosquito, larvae, whatever, are going to come there? Obviously, you cannot. So that analogy is the same as trying to determine your symptomology. Because the symptomology, which is the mosquitoes, is irrelevant. The mosquitoes getting there is irrelevant. The point is, what is the environment that is keeping the mosquitoes there? What is the environment that is conducive to fostering or harboring or encouraging these mosquitoes to live or to exist there? That is what you need to deal with. So it's the stagnant water that you need to deal with, because mosquitoes can only survive, as far as I'm aware, in stagnant water. You don't see mosquitoes in the ocean. You don't see them in clean, fresh water. The water has to be stagnant, so it has to create an environment that is conducive to their breathing, to their functioning. That whole ecosystem that you just created there is now ample for the breeding of mosquitoes. So similar to symptomology, so high blood pressure, diabetes, connective tissue disorder, fibromyalgia, that's your mosquito. I don't care about your mosquito. That is not important. That is not relevant. What is important is the nasty water, the stagnant water is what is important, because that is what is encouraging the mosquitoes to survive, to thrive in that environment. And that's the basic analogy that I can think of to explain to you why your symptomology, 99.9% of the time, is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. I mean, it might sound harsh, it might sound ridiculous, but it's a fact. It is irrelevant, because I've had persons who came to me with all sorts of diagnoses, and that was the furthest from what these people had. I remember dealing with a young lady who came to me, and she was diagnosed with, they told her she had connective tissue disorder. She didn't have connective tissue disorder. Her problem was that she ate terribly. She ate a lot of rubbish. Like, she didn't used to, then she was dehydrated. She didn't used to drink a lot of water. Then she ate a lot of meat. She did not do any cleanse and detoxes. She was very lethargic, lived a sedentary lifestyle, so she wasn't active. So essentially what she was doing what? Creating stagnant water. So she created stagnant water and now created an environment that is conducive to what? Mosquitoes. But what are mosquitoes? Mosquitoes are your symptomology. So this connective tissue disorder, this lupus, this fibromyalgia, this that rheumatoid arthritis and all these things, no. That is your mosquitoes. We're not dealing with mosquitoes. We're dealing with what is causing the mosquitoes to breed and to operate. So I hope you understand that I try to use the simplest analogy I could have think of, or thought of rather. There's one that I used to use before where I talk about garbage in a house, where if you leave garbage in your kitchen, because we all have kitchens, we all manage households, and one of the first things, I don't allow garbage to even stay a day inside of my kitchen. I don't like it because it encourages what? Rats, ants, cockroach. Well, not rats. I mean, it had to be there for a while for you to get rats. Unless you're living in, maybe, anyway, let me just say that. But unless you're living in a vicinity that is easy for rats to, migrate to your house. But most of the time, which is why as children, we were taught not to eat in our bedrooms. You don't eat on your bed, so very rare. And if you do it, it might be once in a while. But if crumbs go on the bed there, and depending where you live in, the next week you can't be in that bed and the bed full of ants. So that analogy basically pointed to the same that I use with the mosquitoes, in the sense that you cannot tell with certainty if you leave garbage in your kitchen what vermin you're going to get. You can't say you're going to get 15 flies, you're going to get 2 ants, you're going to get 6 cockroaches, and you're going to get 4 rats. You don't know. You can't say that. There is no precision or accuracy in determining what will come there as a result of what? So your symptomology is the rats, the ants, the cockroach. But what is your causative factor? The garbage. So the garbage creates an environment that is conducive to the breeding of these vermin. So it creates an ecosystem that makes it relevant or attractive for them to thrive. If it is that was not there, they would not have been there. And the same applies again to the body. So again, in this particular case, your symptomology, which is the rats, the cockroaches, the ants, that is irrelevant. The causative factor or the root cause is what? The garbage. So in treating the problem, what do we treat? The rats. So you're going, how much tin and flit you're going to buy to spray cockroach? How much rat trap you're going to put? Right? If the garbage remains, you'll consistently have to set traps, because the symptomology will continue to exist. What we need to do is get rid of the root cause of the problem. You need to get rid of the garbage. You need to get rid of the stagnant water, because your mosquitoes, your rats, your cockroaches, your ants are irrelevant. Irrelevant. If you didn't learn something today, you learn that. And that is something that's the difference between natural and integrated medicine as opposed to Western medicine. Okay? And there's no beating that, because, I mean, you go to the doctor, you have high blood pressure, they give you high blood pressure tablets. Really? Why your pressure high? What is your causative factor? What is your stagnant water? What is your your garbage? That's what you have to determine. What is causing it? Is it that you're exposed to chemicals? So is it that you work in oil and gas and you have been exposed to things like ammonia and different types of gases over a number of years, and as a result of that, you have created an environment that is now conducive to what? Cancer. You think people get cancer just so? No, you don't. Stress. So stress is your what? Stress is not your symptomology in this case. Stress is your causative factor, because when your stress level is very high, you produce a hormone known as cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And once cortisol levels are very high in the body, you now create an environment that is conducive to what? Disease, sickness. So worries is not a good thing, you know. So if you have husband trouble, wife trouble, children trouble, you know, there's some parents, and rightfully so, I mean, you love your children, but some of them will send you to an early grave because you allow them to. Because worries, you take them on, and then, you know, God forbid you die, and they continue living with the nonsense. So, you know, sometimes you have to, you know, try not to worry so much, because some of y'all is worry-warts, you know. And when you worry that much, you create an environment that is conducive to disease, because you just worry too much. If you pray and you believe in God, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be concerned about certain things, but some people worry unnecessarily. And you create an environment that is so worrisome and so stress-filled that you have now created an environment that is conducive and perfect for cancer, especially. Thyroid problems. So I think so many persons have problem with the thyroid. Stress. Well, they stress out. So the thyroid gland now start to retaliate, and you start to get things like hypothyroidism, which is low thyroid function, or hyperthyroidism, which is high thyroid function, or you end up with thyroid nodules, or goiter, which is when the thyroid gland becomes enlarged because of the various imbalances, whether it's stress or your stagnant water or your garbage. You are now creating an environment that is conducive to disease. And that's the difference fundamentally, as I was saying in the beginning, with integrative medicine, as opposed to Western medicine. They would give you medication, they would give you surgery, or you get chemotherapy and radiation. It's just those four things that you are given. There is no corrective protocol that is mandated for you to follow, because that's what you always need. You need a mandate, you know, to tell you, listen to me. You need to stop eating A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You need to start doing some exercise. You need to hydrate your body. I mean, I don't know how much times I will tell people about drinking water. I don't know. There are some people who still hold the foolish notion, and it is a foolish notion. It's quite stupid, actually, where you say that you do not want to drink water and you don't like how water tastes. If you continue down that road, you're going to, you know what people ever saying? You're going to bring your pigs to fine market, because you're going to end up in the slaughterhouse. That is exactly what will happen to you. You're going to die. That's what that saying really means. You know, when old people tell you a long time, my great-grandmother used to say, you're going to continue. You go ahead and do what you're doing. You're going to bring your pigs to fine market. It basically means your pig's going to be slaughtered because you're not listening. And the same applies to a lot of you guys, because there are certain things, like yesterday in the discussion with that group that I was doing for them, one of the things that I highlighted is, I was talking about men's health. So I was speaking about prostate, and I was also speaking about cardiovascular health and the importance of having good circulation to ensure that you have proper heart health and whatnot. And one of the things I was highlighting to them is the importance of the choices that we make. So every choice that you make, from the temperature of the water that you drink, so those of you who consistently determined to drink cold water, regardless of what you are told, you're going to bring your pigs to fine market. You're going to find out exactly what's going to happen to you. And let me tell you something, and not to start a buff anyone, because I'm going to take questions in a little bit, is that whatever you do to your body don't forget it. Always remember that. So some people say, well, I stopped drinking alcohol 50 years now. So I don't know, maybe it's 100 by now, and you stopped drinking alcohol when you was 50. So you assume that because you didn't drink alcohol for 50 years, but you didn't take any corrective measure to correct what the alcohol would have done to your body. So essentially, you did nothing. So all the consequences of the alcohol is still going to meet you at 100. You think it wouldn't meet you? What did you do different to change what the body is getting to ensure that the new cells, the new red blood cells, the new digestive system, the new heart cells, the new bone cells, and the list goes on. What did you do to ensure that you now building a strong foundation or a stronger foundation as opposed to what you would have built in the past? Nothing. And that's what happens. Your body doesn't forget. So you may have smoked a lot of cigarette, you may have drank a lot of alcohol, and alcohol is damaging really bad. For years, the effects of being an alcoholic stays in your body. And if it is you do not take the corrective approach over a period of time, there is no correction there, and you would end up even succumbing to a situation, to a symptomology. So again, your rat, your ants, your cockroach, as a result of an environment, the stagnant water that you have created as a result of being a diabetic. Not a diabetic, sorry, an alcoholic. Are you following me? All right. So those telephone numbers, you can give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That is 314-9975. And those locations, we are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. We're also on the corner of Ramsey Moods Trace and the SSA Reed Main Road in Debe, as well as Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. John's. Sorry. And Tobago is the Triangle building in Scarborough, Tobago. Okay. So, Mr. Dominic, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So we're going to take some calls, and find out what these people need to find out this morning. Keep in mind that you can ask any question regarding the product, services, or any issue that you may be having, even if it's not related to what I have discussed. All right, Mr. Dominic, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. So first up on the board, my friends, don't forget you can give us a call right now, 625-2759 or 624-7729. And of course, we welcome your messages to 333-9950. 333-9950. You see, Doc, you even have people saying that you stop down Point Fortin for lunch before you head up to studio. First, you're usually.
Oh gosh.
All right, let me see. We had a message here earlier. Someone is asking, what do you have to shrink fibroids? They asked a while back, and the guy said that they have to order it.
Yeah, there's a product we carry called Cyst and Fibroid Formula. We should be getting that product sometime by the end of next week, please God. That's one of the products we carry. There's a product we carry because women who end up with fibroids, again, okay. So fibroids are the mosquitoes, right? The stagnant water is poor gastrointestinal health, poor liver health, endocrine imbalance, and hormonal imbalance. So those four things needs to be corrected so that you could no longer have fibroids, because you can do myomectomy or embolization. So in instances where they would cut the fibroids out, where they would cut the blood vessel leading to the fibroids, and then the fibroids come back again. Because the environment, so the stagnant water, is still there. It hasn't been corrected. All they did was kill the flies, or kill the ants, or kill the mosquito, but they did not deal with the stagnant water. So they have not corrected the situation that has contributed to that. All women who have fibroids have poor gastrointestinal health. They're either plagued with things like constipation, acid reflux, or some sort of inflammatory bowel condition that now affects, because when you look at the body based on anatomy and physiology and location, the colon is behind the uterus. The uterus is anterior to the colon. It's to the front. The colon is posterior to the back. So if it is if there's imbalance in the intestines, in the colon, bacteria and parasite would leave that semi-permeable membrane and go to the front and cause all sorts of problems. All sorts of problems. Fibroids, polycystic ovaries, infertility, endometriosis, adenomyosis. The problem with a lot of persons is that that has happened for years over a period of time. So their situation is very chronic. When you find women who have chronic fibroids, large, it means your situation is so bad and, unknowns to you, maybe because of ignorance, you didn't know, and you didn't know what would have been the corrective measure to deal with it. And it is now at a point where, it's very serious. The possibility exists that it has to be surgically removed. Because some people think I'm anti-surgery, and it's not that. I am just anti-surgery in the sense when they start doing surgeries unnecessarily. And they do a lot of unnecessary surgery on some of you. I mean, some of you, I don't know. I mean, sometimes if you're in an emergency, there's no discussion there. The physical body takes precedence, and as a result of that, the physical body has to be dealt with. So God forbid you fall along and you start to bleed out. We can't, Batson Associates can't do anything for you. You need to go to a theater, our operating theater, and let qualified surgeons deal with you. Because at that particular time, the physical body requires the necessary work. But when you're in a situation where you have fibroids, and the fibroids now begin, you can deal with it. But if you wait for fibroids to become ridiculously large, and sometimes the fibroids become so bad that they fuse to different organs, and your bladder cannot be recognized, and sometimes in CT scans they can't. Well, in CT scans they would see it, but in ultrasounds they wouldn't see it. It means the situation is really, really bad. It's chronic or it's acute. And as a result of that, the possibility exists that you could have to do surgery, but not in all instances. But there are a number of things that we carry at Batson Associates that can correct fibroids. As I said, that's the Sun Fibroid formula. We should be getting by the end of next week, please God. Because the problem is these suppliers, when they were shipping it for us, they were sending it in plastic bottles. And because of the components of that product, we weren't satisfied with the plastic bottles. We were getting some issues. So it's now in glass bottles. So all is well where that is concerned.
That's a good point. Colin, good morning to you.
Hi, good day. Dr.Batson.
Yes, good day, sir.
Hi, good day. I've been watching your show for a while now this year. I complied with in terms of the water and the hydration.
Good.
Now, I am 32 years. I have an issue with my pressure.
Right.
I'm a police officer, so the timing varies.
Right.
What I did, I started to take the medication they gave me. And I'm not really a fan of this type of medication from the doctors.
Right.
So I took it. However, what I did, right, I started to drink water.
Right.
I did the calculation that they prescribe. Your body weight, you divide, and divided by 2.
Nice.
So I took that.
Right.
I bought the alkaline water.
Good.
So now, I am going to purchase your water.
Okay.
Because, I'm really stretching my hand to see what is the best way forward.
Right.
At this point, I'm taking this herb called
Cat's claw, right. Good.
Magnesium. I got a magnesium calcium mixed there. So I have 2 containers of that. I'm drinking all 4. This thing they give it is passion flower herb.
Right.
Right? Just go and drink that there.
Right.
But I'm taking 7 seeds, chia seeds, anything. But my pressure is not going down. Right?
Okay. So.
I am overweight by somewhat.
Right.
That over. I have been fat, yes.
Right.
I do not exercise that much.
Right.
Because of the timing.
Right.
But I'm not sure if you'll be able to, guide me accordingly.
Right. Yeah,
But,
definitely. Let me just clarify something with you quickly. So you said you're 32 or 42, you said? 32. Okay, good. So they diagnosed you with hypertension. So the highest your blood pressure has ever been is how much?
165 or 60 something, 68 or something like that.
So that's the systolic, and the diastolic. The lower number was how much?
The lower number, the highest it has been is 101.
101. All right. And how much is your pulse?
100.
And the pulse?
The pulse, yeah, the pulse is like, I think it's maybe about 100. I can't remember the pulse though.
Okay, cool. On the pressure itself. But okay, so let me ask you something. So what was the medication you were recommended? Nifedipine, atenolol, Ataclan, what?
Let me just take it up here and feel.
Yeah, you go. You take your time.
Candesan.
Or Candestatran, right?
Candestatran, yeah. Selected, so something like that, yeah.
And how much you have to use? 1 or 2?
One a day.
One a day.
16 milligrams.
Okay, and you said since you're using that, the pressure, did you see any dip in the pressure? You saw it going down or anything like that?
maybe a drip, and I believe that's because I use other natural products.
Right, which is with the water and that type of thing. Okay. Well, here we have to do with that. You know what's going on there? That's healing crisis. You see, the thing is, let me explain something quickly with high blood pressure. There are a lot of things that would help you with high blood pressure. So some of the things you bought there on a normal circumstance should help you. So passion flower usually would help. Hawthorn usually would help as well, because hawthorn is good for circulation. And once you're fixing circulation, it would help with high blood pressure. Cat's claw you mentioned. Cat's claw, not so much hypertension. Cat's claw more is musculoskeletal, so things like arthritis, that type of thing, it will help in that situation. Immune system, cancer, that type of thing. What you have to do with the water cleanse that you talk about, I mean, you said you got alkaline water and you have intentions of getting alkaline. Yeah.
Alkaline too much, that will be new water, alkaline, new water,
right, the new bottle that they have there. Okay. All right. So you should really get some alkaline water, because there is some difference there. And what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to do something called a water cleanse. So what you're going to do is you get water, and you drink. You said you did the mathematics with your body weight divided by 2 ounces, correct? Right, nice. So what you're going to do, you're going to drink the water throughout the day, to cover that particular thing. And diet-wise, try, well, you have your normal meals, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, right?
Yes.
Good. Yes. You said that you're a police officer, so I don't know if you work, because I know police officers usually have you all have a unique shift system that you all work where you have 48 hours on, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You fall in that category?
24.
Right. So that is a bit problematic, but at the end of the day, work is work, we gotta work. So I try to help police officers to work around that, because that is very detrimental to your pressure, because the times when you work the 48, and if you don't sleep properly, it affects your blood pressure, which I'm sure you would realize that depending on the shifts that you work, when you test the pressure, you'd realize the pressure is a little more elevated than other times, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So what it is you need to do, you need to get some olive oil. Get one of the virgin olive oil, a good brand. And what you do to know olive oil is good, when you drink it, it's supposed to burn the back of your throat, right? So what you're going to start to do, you're going to start to drink 2 tablespoons of olive oil every day for me. So you're going to do it you could do it in the morning and in the evening. You could do it like maybe 15 minutes before a meal, or you do it on an empty stomach. And an empty stomach technically is like about 30 minutes, 45 minutes before a meal, or 2.5 hours after a meal. All right?
Yeah.
You're following me so far, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. And what to do, the hawthorn that you got, is a tea to drink, or is a powder?
It's actually the photo,
The capsules?
Like you can tell a preserve, like a dry.
All right, so a dry, all right, dry leaves, right. So you're supposed to make that into a tea. So what to do, get some of that, I don't know how much you have. Let's say, what's the measurement? So they normally tell you use what, like a teaspoon to 8 ounces of water, a half teaspoon, you have any idea? Based on...
Actually, you have it. The Chinese store, they just pick it up and put it in a plastic bag and they give you. How much you want, they just pick up, scoop it and give you. And
scoop it and give you. So the bag that you have must you have about how much? Is what, about a 2 ounce, 4 ounce?
Yeah,
about a 4 ounce. Okay, good. So here what to do. Just so take half of that, and you get some water, you put it to boil, and you take the half of the amount and you put it in the hot water and you leave it for like about maybe 4 hours. And what to do, you get a bottle like maybe about a gallon size bottle. So a gallon is 4 liters, and you take all that tea and the water and you throw it, and you keep it in the fridge. So you're going to do it like how we normally do Santulan, which is the cleanse product that we carry, right? And what you do with that, you put it in the fridge, but you're not drinking it cold. And you drink 2 glasses of that every day. So sometime during the day, whether it's morning and evening, you could take it out and drink it at room temperature. You don't need to hot it over, right? And you drink that. And at some point in time, I don't know where you're located, if you could get to Batson and Associates, there is a product that we carry called inflammation formula. You'll try and see if you can get that. and you will take 1 teaspoon of inflammation formula, 1 tablespoon, in fact, sorry, in 8 ounces of water. First thing, well, not first thing, but sometime during the morning time. So when you normally drink a glass of water, you just take a tablespoon of that, you put it in the water and you drink it. You do that in the morning and you do that in the night, right? And you test your blood pressure every day around the same time. So try and test your blood pressure, because the mistake a lot of people do is they test the blood pressure in the morning and then they go and test it in the night. And then they do in the evening. So you need to have a time, whether it's 30 minutes after you get up, you know, a particular time that you test the pressure, because your blood pressure would never be the same during the day at specific times. So if you test your blood pressure lunchtime, you will never get the same reading that you'll get 5 o'clock in the evening. Your blood pressure during the day is going to give you a different reading. But we're trying to determine now an average, and then with the average determine how what we're recommending from a natural perspective is now working. And then we would decide exactly how we go in with it with regards to certain things. But that is what you have to do in your situation, because if you try, your body going to end up in healing crisis if you try to use all those things that you purchase, because what it's going to do is just kind of dump a lot of waste and toxins into the bloodstream, and that in itself is going to elevate the blood pressure. So what we need to do is try and avoid healing crisis, which is where we try to hydrate the body and start to remove toxins gradually, so it doesn't cause the blood pressure to be elevated, and then over a period of time, the blood pressure would start to normalize.
Okay.
All right.
What I did just to mention, I purchased one of those colon cleaners, colon cleansers.
Right.
I just bought one cleanser.
Right.
And I took it for 1 week because I don't consume meat now.
Right.
Just vegetarian.
Okay.
So for 1 week, even though they prescribed for 2 weeks at most.
Right.
So, I did all those things, and it was normal. You know, everything was normal in terms of the process of cleaning.
Right.
It was normal. It was good to me.
Right.
But I actually lost 2 pounds in 1 week, you know, just on my normal diet. I could have a scale and measure myself.
Good.
Which was so maybe that's 2 pounds of weight, I presume.
Right.
You know, the pressure, nothing really changed much.
Change in the pressure. Yeah, that's what, and that's what I'm saying. Because the thing is, blood pressure is a funny thing to deal with, you know. But in my experience, one of the things I've realized, which is why I told you to do what I told you to do there, because that I've had people who came to me with blood pressure 200 and something over 1 something, and now their blood pressure reading like must be about maybe 125 over 80, over 75, 65. Amazing blood pressure. But a lot of the instances, we had to do it gradually, because blood pressure is a funny thing, because there are a lot of things that are good for blood pressure. Like, let's say, example, omega-3, beetroot. But there are a lot of people, if they drink beetroot, it will send the blood pressure up very high. But beetroot normally is supposed to regulate your pressure. The reason why they're getting that response is because they have so much toxins and so much waste that what the beetroot is doing what it's supposed to do, you know, which is nitric oxide. So it's opening the blood vessels. It's causing the blood vessels to vasodilate. But the problem is it has so much waste in the system that all the waste is going to go in the bloodstream. So it's automatically, once that waste gets into the bloodstream, what's going to happen? The blood is going to become thicker. And once the blood becomes thicker, it means the pressure is going to elevate. So what we need to do, we don't want that blood to get too thick enough, because that could end up causing a problem. It could cause stroke. It could cause all sorts of problems. So we want it to become clean gradually over a period of time. It's like somebody trying to mop as I always tell people, it's like you're trying to mop a house with a cup of water. That don't make any sense. In some cases, you need a hose. You have a hose down the floor, scrub it up. So the body is the same thing. And we need to get that water and that hydration into the body so much that it gradually eliminates toxins out of the body. So what we're trying to go on with your body there is like, we're in the National Stadium, and that's 60,000 people, or how much people the National Stadium hold, all of them trying to go through a door at the same time. That cannot happen. It's gradually through. So they have to form a line and gradually, one by one, go through. And that is what you do in order to successfully correct that situation. I strongly suggest that you get some of the alkaline water. The Santulan, that Santulan is going to do some good to you, because Santulan is a 7-channel detox. It detoxifies kidney, colon, bloodstream, liver, lymphatic system, skin, and your lungs. And that cleanser is effective, but it also has probiotics in it. So it does some work with your gastrointestinal system. And I believe you'll see a change in that blood pressure. Okay?
I'm going to St. James.
Okay, good. No problem, man.
But thank you a lot, doctor.
No problem, sir. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes. So those telephone numbers, again, for those of you listening, you could always give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That is 314-9975. And our locations, we are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. We're also on the corner of Ramsey Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Dede, as well as Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road in St. James. Tobago is the Triangle building in Scarborough, Tobago. Keep in mind, we also have road delivery. I have some good news for those of our international clients. I know we have been, working a while assiduously on getting this set up for you. We almost there, but we have come up with a solution in the short term. So what I want you guys to do, I know that we have done a list. My marketing department had done a list for me. So those of you who we have on Facebook, what we're going to do, we're going to try to get all you guys who needed online consultations and that type of thing. And I'm going to try and start to break down the list, because we have come up with a short-term plan to at least get you started on some stuff until we finished with that. Because I can't leave you guys, in the breeze for so long, right? Some of you feeling very cold, and you're letting me know. So I have to try my best, and we have to come up with a solution in the short term so that you guys, because the sickness we're talking about here, so I don't want to leave people waiting a year and months. I mean, we're trying to correct that situation. So we have come up with a solution. So stay tuned for that. And those of you guys who out there, whether you're in the Caribbean or wherever the world that you are, we're going to ensure that we get your stuff shipped to you. All right. And we're going to have your consultations done for you as well. Keep in mind, I'm going to have to do them in stages, because I think we have a few people well. But, keep in mind that we're working on that for you guys. Okay. Mr. Dominic, sir?
Yes, sir. All right. So we're moving on some voice notes here.
Hi. Good morning, Mr. Dion. Good morning to Dr. Batson. I would like to state 3 points. I am trying to get onto your numbers, which are not yet answered. Number 2, could you tell me briefly on your liquid chlorophyll, your advanced liquid chlorophyll, the benefits, and what is your intake on a knee replacement? Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay. All right. Pleasant good morning to you. Okay. Well, I do apologize for the situation with the numbers. I mean, I know we have changed some numbers. St. James, some of their numbers changed, but we have updated the website with the numbers for St. James. Tobago number had changed as well too, and we did update that. So I don't know which number exactly that you're calling. The 222-8261 number. If you call that number and you don't get an answer, because that phone is ringing like off the hook, usually someone is going to return your call. So I mean, if you could send us a WhatsApp on 314-9975. That's 314-9975. And just state your name and a number to contact you. I'll ensure that somebody gets back to you. Right? As it relates to the advanced chlorophyll, chlorophyll is nutrient dense in the sense that so it's dense and has a lot of nutrients. So it's very good for your liver. It's a very good detoxifier. I actually had some this morning. It was chlorophyll. I used chlorophyll genesis. I used inflammation formula, and I used there's a product that we carry, silver, the mineral formula with the colloidal silver. So with liquid chlorophyll is also very good for people who are anemic. It builds your blood count way better than any iron supplement I've ever seen. Simply because nutrient-dense greens always do a better job in building your blood count naturally, because what it does is actually helps the body in the production of red blood cells, as opposed to actually building your blood, what iron would do, and then the blood count comes down. So people who are anemic, it's something that I usually recommend for them. It's also a very gentle detoxifier. So people who have a lot of acid, things like lactic acidosis, people who have a lot of problems with toxins in the body, it does help gradually in removing those. It's also a good deodorizer. So persons who may have a little situation with perspiration, little odors, maybe a situation with your mouth, which is nothing to be ashamed of, because people who have problems with like things like halitosis, bad breath, people who have problems with very high perspiration, that is not an external situation. It's a problem that needs to be corrected in the gut. it needs to be corrected in the liver. And that is one of the things that chlorophyll actually does. And your third question, or your second question rather, would have been a situation with a knee replacement. What are my thoughts on that? I am not an advocate of that at all. I personally find that as a ridiculous surgery. It makes no sense. You put yourself through more pain than anything else. And what a lot of persons have to understand with knee replacement or any replacement as it relates to your musculoskeletal system, it is not a welcome thing. If you have reached the stage where you have waited for your knee to have gotten really bad, well then, God forbid, you have no choice in the matter. You need to face the knife. However, cartilage, which medical professionals tell us cannot be rebuilt, is nonsense. Every single substance in the human body could be rebuilt. Every organ, every cell in the human body can regenerate. However, it is dependent on a number of things. Age is a determinant factor. Determination is one as well, because I'm the type of person, if I determine to do anything, nobody ain't going to tell me to do otherwise. I mean, within reason. It's not like I'm going to try and fly, I'm going to run off a building and jump and spread my arms and hope I can fly. Then you're just trying to defy the law of gravity, which doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. There are specific laws and there are natural laws which can always or would always remain in effect. And nothing that you do, regardless of how ingenious or how brave or determined you are, could change that. We understand that, but we're not speaking about that. So we're talking about situations here where you need to now give the body specific food so that it can now rebuild your knee and correct the inflammatory response. Because anyone who has been told that they need a knee replacement, usually, I'm not saying that in your case, usually they are overweight people. And obviously, someone who's overweight, you're going to have to get problems with your knees, because it's as if you did a plan and you did a foundation for a 1-story or a 2-story building, and you just come out of a whim and you decide, well, I get more money, so you're going to build a 4-story building. You cannot build a 4-story building on a foundation that was designed for a 2-story building, obviously, right? That's simple civil engineering, simple physics. Good? It doesn't make any sense. So there are a lot of people who are walking around with a musculoskeletal system that was designed for a 2-story building, and yours is now a 6-story building. You are too heavy. And I'm not saying this, keep in mind, caller, I'm not referring to you. I'm making a general statement here. Some of you are too heavy. You're too big. You need to lose some weight. And that's not me trying to be facetious and disgusting and disrespectful or rude, because I understand that some people think I'm rude, and I do apologize, but I mean, you can't tell people how to interpret what you're saying. But I am not. I'm just factual and plain spoken in my approach. And a lot of people appreciate that. And that's the type of person I am. If it is you have a problem with me, let me know. And then if we could move from there, we could move from there. If not, you hold your corner, I hold my corner. That's the type of person I am. And when coming to your health, you know, that is also the type of person I am, because, as you know, it's a fact. You want me to tell you, hey, here, what, go and do a knee replacement. When you're ready, doctor's supposed to be telling me, listen to me, you are obese. You need to lose some weight. You are too heavy. You might want to hear that, but that's the fact. Because I'll tell you something, knee replacements and most replacements, back and spinal surgery, those things don't last enough. Remember what they have to put in you. You think they're going to get bone? You think they're going to get your bone and put it and grow it back? No. That's virtually impossible. They're trying to do that now, and I'm telling you, they wouldn't have much success with that, because that's like trying to play God. Now, if you use stem cells, there's a difference. So someone who has knee situation, or who think they need knee replacement, or who needs a hip replacement, you didn't fall, nothing is broken. Why are you going to do a hip replacement? Is pain you're looking for? Because later on in your life, you're going to get some kind of pain there. Watch me, it's only God to help you with that pain. And you know why? Because you have foreign parts and foreign objects inside of you. What do you think they have to fuse those bones to? They have to use drills. They have to use screws. They have to use steel. What do you think going to happen eventually? You didn't think when you place coal and that steel start to coal up inside there, you wouldn't feel it? Obviously, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Synovial fluid could be corrected. Let me give you a nice free tip. Get yourself some CMOS. Glad to start to sell CMOS just now, right? Because this is the amount of CMOS I'm telling people to get. So right now, our source have very good CMOS for you. So just now, you're getting that too. But get some CMOS. And when you're making CMOS, listen to me good and proper. Don't tell me no nonsense about milk. That's licoriceness, that's greediness. Do not put milk. You cannot have an arthritis problem, you can't have a knee problem, a back problem, and be drinking milk. Especially dairy milk, cow milk, goat milk, all that foolishness. Take that out of the diet. All you need to do to make a smoothie, even if you are diabetic, you just don't use a whole banana, use a half banana. You get some oats, you get some chia seeds, and you blend that up. And you take some sea moss and you put it inside of it. And start drinking that, and it's going to begin to help your knee. As it relates to what we carry at Batson & Associates, we carry a wide range of products. There's a collagen product that I promised you guys for how long, and I know a lot of you want to kill me for that, but it's not my fault. Again, COVID is responsible for most things. So the company is having a little situation, but we should have that corrected. I know we have one in stock in Chagonas. We only have one, but we should be getting a pretty large shipment before the end of the month where that is concerned. And that's a product that works really good because it has collagen and hyaluronic acid. So start drinking your sea moss. All of those of you who have bad knee and bad back and those type of things, you could call Batson & Associates delivery. You could get some inflammation formula. There's also a stem cell product that we carry, and you know, stem cells not cheap. We have the whole package, which is a little on the, you know, a little pricier than other things. But you could also get it in single packs, which is going to be cheaper. But you know, you have to know the investment for your health. I always tell people, if you think health expensive, try sickness. And it's the pain that you're trying to avoid, because a lot of persons, price is always, everything has a financial consequence. This that I have on, shoes that I'm wearing, the socks that I have on, the belt, the pants, you know, I spent money for it. Or if it was a gift, do people spend money for it? So you all understand where I'm coming from. There's always a financial consequence to everything. And I know, you know, now, especially with COVID, you know, things are a little tight for persons, which is why I try to tell you, you know, use a little home remedy. Sea moss in $1 million, go in the market, make a trip, get some sea moss and handle yourself. So at least start that. And you know, when you get a little money, if you feel to come by Batson and get a little joint tea, some little inflammation formula, a little something, then feel free to do so. All right? The number, the WhatsApp number, that number is 314-9975. That's 314-9975. And our the main telephone number is 222-8261. That's the landline, 222-8261. Now, we have a lot of other numbers, but just, so what you could do, you could check out our page on Facebook. We are Batson & Associates Limited on Facebook, and on Instagram, we are Batson & Associates TT. And you could also check us out on, what's that, Shaki? Oh, the number for the radio. Mr. Dominic, what's the radio number?
The radio number is 625-2759 or 624-7729.
Okay, good. So you heard that, and feel free to give us a call where that is concerned. Okay? All right, so I think I handle knee replacement there. Next question.
Right, so let's get back to the board quickly, because the messages are piling up here. All right. Someone is asking quickly, they said that they bought a bottle of the advanced chlorophyll. How should they use it?
1 tablespoon in 8 ounces of water in the morning. Now, usually when we say first thing on morning, so, you know, if you rise 6 o'clock, you could use it 6, you rise 7 o'clock, you could use it 7. So we know the first thing you're supposed to really have on your stomach in the morning is water. That's really the first thing. What makes the situation even better is if you could have water, but not only water, you're having water with chlorophyll in it. So you're now giving your body a jump start, you're jump starting your organs, you're getting everybody moving, but you now have a substance in there that has the ability to heal. It has a lot of antioxidants, that type of thing. So I normally recommend you use it in the morning and use it last thing before you go to bed. Why last thing before you go to bed? Because when you're sleeping, your body does what? Your body heals and repairs itself. But the purpose and the main purpose of sleep is to rejuvenate neurotransmitters and the neurological functions of the body. That is the principal function of sleep. So imagine you go to sleep, but you give your body something that is beneficial. Anthocyanins, antioxidants, help with the liver, kidney, detoxifier. Obviously, you're going to start to get results. So 1 tablespoon in the morning and 8 ounces of water. 1 tablespoon in the night before you go to bed, 8 ounces of water. Keep in mind an empty stomach, because I know a lot of people, let me go through something quickly here. A lot of people just get challenges and confused with an empty stomach. So somebody told me, but doctor, your stomach must be only empty once for the day. So they assume that when you get up in the morning, your stomach is empty. Now, technically, that is technically correct and is technically incorrect. So an empty stomach really is anything before, like I said, 30 minutes to 45 minutes before a meal, 2.5, 3 hours, or maybe 1.5 up to 3.5 hours after a meal. And the reason with the difference is because of the meal that you have. So there are certain things you know that will take longer to digest than others, right? So we know as it relates to digestion in the body, sugars are digested first. What takes the longest to digest? Protein. So I believe, if memory serves me correct, is normally sugars, fats. So sugars, carbs, fats, then protein, somewhere in that order, right? So depending on the meal you have, if you had a very heavy meal, then you should give yourself about 3.5 hours. But if you had like salad goes through your system very quick. So you could make maybe an hour after your salad or hour and a half, you would have an empty stomach. So throughout the day, your stomach is going to be technically empty at a particular point in time. All right, so that's something to keep in mind. Because a lot of people will be confused, but Dr. Batson, if I have the chlorophyll and I have to take it for an empty stomach and I have to take the L-arginine on an empty stomach, how much time for the day my stomach would be empty? If you really check it, based on what I told you, 30 minutes before, 2.5 hours or 1.5, 3 hours, depending on the meal that you have, technically you can use your stuff. Who's this? Somebody by the name of Mitchell, still waiting on a call back for a follow-up since May. Okay, well, all right, we need to address that. I do apologize for that. I mean, one of the things I have to say, I'm not a person to make excuses because we are short-staffed, no fault of my own. But we're working on that situation. So we actually have a new department coming up very shortly, which is going to, that's going to be called the feedback department, because anybody who know Dr. Batson know, if there's one thing I'll tell you, my patients know about me. I do not make, and people who work with me, I don't make joke with feedback. You see, when I don't call back my clients, I'm one of the most ignorant persons you have to deal with. There are people who no longer work with me because of that. I don't make joke with that. So if it is you haven't gotten a call back, I do apologize for that. We are in the process of correcting that, simply because we have a lot of people to deal with. And that is not an excuse. It's simply the impetus is now on our part to now correct that situation. And I'm in the process of doing that. But keep in mind that that is not how Batson Associates operate. There are people who, I am one of the only doctors must be in the world that has a staff that is dedicated specifically to calling back my clients. I don't make joke with that. Because people are spending their hard-earned money. I wouldn't let you come spend your money. I just leave you in the wilderness. So I'm not that type of person. And obviously, when you hear me on the radio and when I deal with people, you know I'm not that type of person. Follow-up and feedback is essential. Communication is essential, because remember, we're working on something for you to get better. So obviously, regular, we ain't going to pest you, but regular discussion. And keep in mind, when we're calling you a lot of times, some people think we're calling you to spend money. That's not the case. We're calling you to follow up to see how you're going, so that we would know if what you have done makes sense, obviously, because you came to get results. You came for a particular situation that needs to be addressed, okay? So again, I do apologize if that is in fact the case. You haven't gotten a call back. I'll ensure that that is corrected. In a matter of weeks, we're going to correct it, because we have some new staff coming with us and that type of thing. So again, those telephone numbers, you can give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975, as well as 222-8261. That's 222-8261. Someone asked if we have iOptics formula in stock. Yes, we do. We have chlorophyll, we have inflammation formula, we have silver. Teas, we had a little challenge with some of our teas. It's COVID, and customs have their little challenges. A pleasant good morning to the hardworking customs officers of Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, we know you guys under some pressure, and then the thing is, if anybody get COVID down there, there's a whole lockdown situation. So God's willing, we should have teas next week for you guys. So we're working on it. We come in to come, as the people say. All right, Mr. Dominic, sir.
Let's take a call. Caller, good morning to you.
Morning. Dr. Batson, if I had a prostate problem about 2 months ago, I did a test. I was reading 23, and I took a next test about a month back, and I got to 12. I don't know if you have any medication here that you could help me. I just know the
Okay, good. No problem, sir. Yeah, prostate. So most likely the test you're referring to is a PSA, which is a prosthetic specific antigen. Usually on the prosthetic specific antigen, they tell you that your prostate should measure anywhere between 0 to 4. It should not go over 4. 4 is usually an indication of high activity, so it could indicate things like benign prostatic hyperplasia, or what is known as BPH. It could also be an indication of prostatitis, which is infection of the prostate. And God forbid, it could also be an indication of prostate cancer. The thing with a PSAs are like prosthetic ultrasounds, MRIs, CT scans, that type of thing. Biopsies, I'm not a fan of at all. I tell persons, do not let anybody do any biopsy on you. I don't care what they say. Let them go and do a biopsy on their own scrotum, not on yours, because you're going to end up in some problems. Because once you do biopsies, you open up the body to infection and you open it up to blood clots, right? And usually the infections become chronic and they bother you later on in life. But that's just a side note. As regards to whether we have products to deal with prostate health, yeah, we carry prostate tea, we have male tea. There's a product we have called prostate formula. I've helped a lot of persons with prostate situations. When you're dealing with a prostate problem, keep in mind that you need to deal with your gastrointestinal system, because like women who end up with things like polycystic ovaries, fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, adenomyosis, infertility, and the list goes on, they usually have poor gastrointestinal health. Always keep in mind that your neighbors, you know, there's a saying, if your neighbor house on fire, wet your roof. Why are they telling you that? Because the fire will come over and burn your house. So neighbors, as it relates to anatomy and physiology, are very careful. So usually if your neighbor, so if your colon giving trouble, your neighbor to your colon, in the case of a man, is his prostate. The neighbor of a female is her uterus. So if your colon giving problems, if you have a very, which is why men who eat a lot of meat, you need to be very careful. If you have poor colon health, constipation problems, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, any inflammatory bowel condition, it is very easy for you to end up with prostatitis, because bacteria and infection leave the back there and go in the front. So them fellas migrate, they move in. And of course, you know, all living organisms do what? They eat and they do what? They excrete. So think about that for a minute. They eat and they excrete. So if you have prostatitis, which is infection of your prostate, imagine your prostate is infected with pathogens, and these fellas and them just eating and they'll put it on waste, they excreting. What do you think going to happen? You now create an environment that is conducive to disease. So the same analogy that I used in the beginning, where I told you that your mosquitoes are not important to us or me. Neither your rat, your ants, your cockroach, that's not important. What is important is the stagnant water. So same thing applies to you, sir. Your PSA is important, yes, but your root cause, your gastrointestinal system, your liver, hydration, that is what you need to work on. So there are a number of things we have at Batson Associates. You could write it down. The silver formula is one to use. Inflammation formula is also one. What you can do when you get those two, get a bottle of apple cider vinegar, preferably the Bragg's brand, the one with the mother in it. Yeah, that's the nice fat floating skin inside. That is look real icky. Right, that's the real good one. And you take a teaspoon of that and you add it to your inflammation formula, your chlorophyll, and your silver formula. And you drink that in the morning and in the evening, and you could get some prostate tea and prostate formula. And once you use that, you use it for like about 2 months, go back and do your PSA test and you'll tell me something. All right, and you will observe significant improvement in the way you urinate, that type of thing. All right? Okay. Someone is asking a question. Let me just take this here. This is Miss Veronica Joy Benjamin, I believe. Good morning, Dr. Batson. You recommended intermittent fasting. What are reasonable intervals? Okay, that's a good question. Usually at 12 hours is good. The diabetic person sometimes have little problems in it. What I tell persons is you could do an intermittent fast. So let's say 6 o'clock. Keep in mind, when you're doing intermittent fasting, Your meal should always, excuse me, have protein in it. So we know where we get proteins from, right? Legumes, meats, so things like tuna, your different types of fishes, or fish rather, eggs, things like chana, beans, that type of thing, and vegetables. So let's say, let me give you an example. So let's say you're doing an intermittent fast for 12 hours. You get up 5 o'clock in the morning, and let's say you came to Batson and Associates. So you have a tablespoon of chlorophyll with some silver. You drink that first thing in the morning. Chlorophyll also helps you lose weight, by the way. The bad weight. It helps you lose waste, let me see, and fat, visceral fat especially. So let's say you have a chlorophyll, so you have a tablespoon of chlorophyll in 8 ounces of water. You add some of the mineral formula that we have with the colloidal silver, very good product, especially for your immune system. So you mix 2 ounces of that in 8 ounces of water. You drink that, so you drink that 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock now, you have your meal. So your option, let's say you have 2 boiled eggs. And when you're boiling your egg or you're using egg, please use the yellow of your egg. Don't throw away the yellow of your egg. You're wasting your money. Because that's where the best part of the egg is. That has choline, which is good for your brain and your eyes, so it prevents you from getting Alzheimer's and vascular dementia and, you know, Parkinson, those type of things. So two boiled eggs. You could have a few pieces of like sweet potato or some sort of provision. So that's your carbohydrates. And then you need vegetables, roughage. So you could have, maybe you do some chow mein, some chunky veg, that type of thing. And you have that for your breakfast. Now, throughout the day, you're going to drink hot tea and water. And you're breaking that fast 12 hours after. So it's going to be 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the evening. The meal that you're having in the evening should only be protein and vegetables. So you could have, let's say, a salad where you maybe strip up some chicken breast and you do maybe some lettuce and those type of things. You can do that to break the fast. That's a 12-hour fast. Now, you have fasts where you can do the morning one, where you can do before you go to bed. So let's say you have your meal 6 o'clock. You go to bed like about 9. So you have your chlorophyll with your silver. And what you do when you get up in the morning now, let's say you get up 6 or 7 o'clock, you have your chlorophyll with your silver again. And you drink hot tea and water until 12. So you would break fast 12 o'clock. And 12 o'clock again, your meal 12 o'clock would be protein, some sort of vegetables, and your carbohydrates. But always keep in mind that the 6 o'clock meal in the evening should only be protein and vegetables. You don't want any carbohydrates at that time. So you don't want any provision, you don't want any rice, that type of thing. You want like salad with maybe some strips of breast, or you could use fish. You could use 2 eggs again, with maybe some peas, or you could do that with some chunky veg, or, you know, you just strip up some vegetables, that type of thing. But during the day, and with persons who are diabetic, if you feel like your blood sugar is going low, what you need to do is just have like maybe 2 dates or something like that. Just something to keep the blood sugar up, right? Not soft drink, please. So I think that's one of the best examples I could give you there. And those are the easier ones. We have some more advanced ones, but that I could always give you on a subsequent program. Okay, Mr. Raymond John is asking, morning blessings to you, Dr. Batson. Why when I pass water, it's dark yellow in color and it has a smell? Well, Mr. John, that means you need a cleanser. So you need to get yourself, maybe you're not drinking sufficient water, so I'll recommend you do the water cleanse with the Alkagen water. We normally sell the Alkagen water. You get 3 5-liter bottles. I don't usually call price, so you can check it up. Well, I mean, no, I don't call price. I wouldn't change that. So you could check it on our Facebook page, or you could have 6 bottles, which is 5-liter bottles, and you start with that. It's cheap, not expensive. You need to hydrate your body. I don't know how much to emphasize hydration. I had a young lady who came to me, excellent testimony. She came to us with eczema. If you saw this young lady when she came to us, she was terrible, terrible, terrible. Her skin was literally falling off. If you see that young lady now, and I think we're only working with her almost 3 months now. It watched me amazing results. And one of the problems that she had was she was dehydrated. Think about it. Just sit down and think about it for a minute. Your body is 70% water. Good grief. Think about that. And you're telling me you don't like water? Well, you don't like yourself? That's all I have to tell you. You don't like yourself. And listen to me. Juice, soft drink, coffee, tea you could get away with depending on the kind of tea. If you come by Batson and Associates and get some circulation tea, some white tea, some pu'er tea, because we carry some very good teas, high quality. and you're drinking that, I will excuse you a little bit, but tea does not replace water. But you cannot be drinking soft drink every day. I want to bash some of these soft drink people. I don't know what's meant. When I get all the problems, as the old people say, go and blow your nose, where you get a cold. Some always look for the thing. Only now get up in the morning and you drinking a soft drink and smoking a cigarette. You now say a prayer, you know, and ask God and thank God for life, and you drinking a soft drink and smoking a cigarette. You're looking for a slap. You want to be out of your mind. Why would you do that? You now get up. You don't know when you get up from a fast. When you sleep, your body is rejuvenating itself, rejuvenating neurotransmitters, that type of thing. So you fast, you getting up from a fast, so your body craving nutrients, and the first thing you're going to find to give your body is drink a soft drink or drink a cup of coffee. You looking for problems, man. You calling cancer, you telling cancer, come, open the door and tell cancer, come inside, come. Go where you want to go. Where you feel to go? My prostate? You feel to go in my breast? You feel to go in my colon? Where you feel to go? That's exactly what it is you're doing when you do that manner of foolishness. That is nonsense. You can't drink a little teaspoon of rough skin lemon in some water. After you now say your prayers, you now tell God thank you for life. And the first thing you could think of drinking is soft drink or a cup of coffee and a cigarette. Come on, man. Trinidad and Tobago. Come on. What are you doing? And then you'll go and tell people, the Bible say, what's the scripture, boy? A pleasant good morning to Mr. Matthew Can and his team. I did a presentation for them last night. I can't remember the scripture off the top of my head, but you all know the scripture where you talk about go well and something and be healthy. You can't just say go well and be healthy and eat foolishness. So you feel God is a puppy show. You can't do that. You cannot do that. So make sure that the first thing that you have on your stomach in the morning is something that is pro-health, that will give you some sort of benefit and not take away years from your life and tell cancer, come in your door, because some always open, or even open the door, the window, the gate, everybody, and telling cancer, come. People don't get cancer just so. Even if it is, they tell you it is hereditary. If you know that hereditary thing does aggravate my spirit. Hereditary, genetic load the gun, lifestyle pull the trigger. Always remember that. All right? Mr. Dominic, sir.
All right, moving on to the next one. Doc, you have these messages piling up. Don't have nobody blaming me. Yes,
No.
All right. What treatment do you have for hiatal hernia and the GERD?
Hiatal hernia. Well, you need to go by a chiropractor for that, eh? Because remember, a hiatal hernia is where the esophagus spins up. So the way your body designed, right? Okay, so your stomach, let's say, so your esophagus above your stomach, right? So usually there's like a door between the esophagus and your stomach that closes. It's called the esophageal sphincter, right? So it's a door that closes, it latches, for want of a better expression. Some people end up with something known as a hiatal hernia, which causes that to open or remain slightly open. So what happens? Stomach acid comes up and it goes into the esophagus and it causes problem. GERD is an acronym for gastrointestinal reflux disease, which can be caused by a hiatal hernia, and it can be caused by a lot of other things. One of the reasons for the gastrointestinal problems is drinking cold water. That's the next thing. Tavole is a bandwagon, a cold water. Or they love a cold water. If you don't drink cold water, you don't feel good. Especially some of your men. That's why your belly's so big and you can't lose weight, because you're drinking too much cold water. Stop it. Cold water internally has absolutely no benefit. I don't care what article. Go and read it. There was an article where I was telling persons that because your body cannot utilize cold water, it can only utilize water at room temperature. When you drink cold water, your body now burns calories to get the water to room temperature. That may be true, yes, but there are a lot of negative issues that come about as a result of that. And you don't want that. So that makes absolutely no sense. There are plenty of other things you could do to burn that little bit of calories than go and kill yourself by drinking cold water. So stop doing it. Stop it. Especially men. You're very hardened and you don't listen. Stop it. And then some of y'all who, if it is your dough, when you're eating a meal, you must have meat on your plate. You need to stop that nonsense too. It's plenty. Always make all yourself sick enough. And then after, or they go by the doctors and then they cut all your joke up all dig all up, do all manner of foolishness, and then all they come to Batson. That can't be right. And then I had the audacity to ask me, Dr. Batson, what guarantee do I have? When you should have asked the people and them who do you all manner of foolishness, choke you out, all kind of thing, cut you up, what guarantee you have? That's what you should have been asking them. Because, keep in mind, the main thread of the program is we do not care about your mosquitoes. I don't want to know about your mosquito. I don't want to know about your rat, your ants, your cockroach. Your symptomology is irrelevant. What is important? The stagnant water. Get rid of your stagnant water. When last you take a cleanse? When last you take a detox? How much water are you drinking? When last you do some exercise? Deal with the stagnant water. Okay, someone is asking, I'm coming back to you just now, Dominic. Let me just answer this question. Morning, Dr. Batson. I'm under your eye, an eyelid are dark. What can you do to access your products? Okay, so there's someone, most likely this must be someone from out of the country. So as I was saying before, that's something that we're working on. So stay tuned for that. Just let us know. You could send it to the WhatsApp number. But if you're out of the country, it'd be 868. So 1-868-314-9975. And you could let us know what's going on. All right. Someone is asking about allergies, like outdoor, like Sahara dust, etc. Okay, well, if you have a problem with allergies, I'll tell you something. I was telling someone the other day, I don't know what sinusitis is. You hear people talk about my sinus raise. Watch me, that's foreign news to me. And thank God I don't have that. But let me tell you something. If you have a problem with sinus, your problem is not sinus. You know? Again, we don't care about your mosquitoes. What we care about is stagnant water. So if you have a sinus problem, it means you have a lot of mucus. Where? All here. It's sinus filled. How do you drain sinuses? Without doing surgery. Your diet. So no cold water, no dairy, and contrary to popular belief, eggs are not dairy. I will say it again. Eggs do not categorize dairy. What is dairy? Butter, cheese, and milk. Eggs are not dairy. Good? That's something I needed to clarify because some people believe eggs are dairy. They are not. All right? And in that particular situation, it means that you need to clear. So a cleanse and detox. The sinuses are filled. Because if you ever saw what your sinuses look like, or you ever saw a 3D view of your cerebral system, there are a lot of crevices, a lot of spaces. So when you have sinus, it's because it's filled. So when you now have a trigger, which is things like dust, perfume, and that type of thing, what happens to the sinuses? The inflammation increases, so they begin to swell. So you feel congested, and then they tell you you have sinus congestion. But sinus congestion is not something that should bother you frequently. If you have it, it means you have congestion. You have waste and rubbish that has not come out, and it is there, and it is causing an inflammatory response. All right, Mr. Dominic, sir.
All right, so we're on to the next one. Good morning, Dr. Batson. I need to get something from you. I had a myectomy 6 years ago. Right. After the surgery, my period came twice. I get period symptoms, belly pains, etc. What can I use? I'm 41 now.
Okay, so what they're saying is that they have a problem with menstrual cycle.
I want to say yes. They're saying that they had a myectomy 6 years ago.
Okay, a myomectomy. Okay, good, right. So which means, right, so they have fibroids. Right. Okay, right. So if they had a myomectomy, it means they had a fibroid removed. Myomectomies are embolization, I believe, is when you cut the blood vessel leading to the fibroid, and a myomectomy is when you remove the fibroid. All right. So if you remove fibroids, it means you had a problem with hormonal imbalance. You had a problem. So again, your stagnant water is gastrointestinal problems, endocrine problems, hormonal problems. No, well, endocrine problems. So we need to correct the hormones. So yes, we have stuff for that. We have cis and fibroid formula. We have women's formula, female balance. There are a number of products that we carry at Batson & Associates for that particular situation. So you could give us a call or give us a visit, and we will try our best and facilitate you where that is concerned. A pleasant good morning to my Facebook listeners. Keep in mind, because of the forum I'm on, I'm not able to see your questions. I'm not able to see everyone who's telling me good morning, but I'm sure I have the usual listeners, Miss Moses, Honey Bay, And all the regular listeners, because after I'm finished, I'm just going to stay on Facebook for a little while to address some of your questions. Okay, so I'm just letting you know that I'm not seeing to acknowledge you, but I know that you guys are there. Pauline McKenna, all you guys. Pleasant good morning. Yes, Mr. Dominic, sir.
Doc, on our list, if your blood is thick, should you take iron tablets or drink juiced beetroot? My blood count is always close to being below the healthy level.
Okay. Just don't do me a favor. Read that question one more time for me.
All right. So once again, if your blood is thick,
right,
should you take iron tablets or drink juiced beetroot? My blood count is always close to being below the healthy level.
No, well, then she have a problem. Because if you're anemic, which means your blood count is low, you have problems with like red blood cells, that type of thing. But you're saying that your blood is thick, and then you have a big problem because it means your blood is literally dirty. You have a lot of toxins and that type of thing. Now, you wouldn't be able to use Santulan if you're anemic, or you shouldn't use Santulan initially if you're anemic. But what we need to do is clean up that blood. So I don't suggest you go and use beetroot and you go and use iron tablets either. You need to deal with that body from a holistic perspective. So you need to bring water in there. You need to get some of the chlorophyll, and then so do water cleanse and chlorophyll. You could also do some teas, pu'er and oolong teas, so that will build you up and build up the blood count, and then gradually we address the other situation and build up the blood count. But if your blood is thick, you should not be interfering with beetroot and iron tablets. Not at this stage. Even if you are anemic, you're going to end up in problems. You're going to end up, you could cause your blood pressure to be elevated. And then that could lead to stroke and a whole other host of things. So you can feel free to give us a call. Those telephone numbers again are 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That is 314-9975.
All right, so next up on our board, let's see. Doc, I had a second opinion for cataracts and was told that I have it in both eyes. Right eye is -225, left eye is +025. I'd like to get one of your eye drops, please.
Okay, that's no problem. If depending on those type of cataracts, you're going to have to use what I suggest you use. There's an eye drop that we have 3 eye drops now. The eye optics formula is the most popular, and we always have that in stock. The other 2 I try to get because the supplier gives me as per, because it is a product in high demand. So what you should really use is the MSM eye drop and the eye optics eye drop. Now, if depending on the cataracts, you may have to use another eye drop that we have there and get some IT, because if you have some problems with cataracts, you also need to pay attention to your hydration. You don't drink enough water, right? Or you need to up your water. Or maybe you're drinking water, but your body not utilizing water as it should. All right, so it's the eye optics formula, the MSM, and some of the IT. At least start with that, and you should begin to see some improvement where that is concerned. And we have testimonies on eyes like that. A lot of clients come to us very, very satisfied. I had an 84-year-old lady recently, when she went back to the doctor, he was flabbergasted. He wanted to know where this cataract gone. So there are things that you could use, but you need to be disciplined and you need to be consistent. That's the next thing I told you. All it is, I don't understand how people just forget to take things for themselves and tell me about you forget to take it. That is for your body. You just forget to eat? No. You just forget to bathe? No. You just forget to brush your teeth? So how you can forget to take something that is going to help make you better and improve the quality of your life? Come on, man. Yes,
right.
sir.
So let's take a voice note here.
Pleasant good morning to you, Brother D. And a pleasant good morning to you, Dr. Batson. Dr. Batson, is there any tests that you can do to determine poor gastrointestinal system? And if yes, do you offer that at your clinic?
All right. Yes, there are. There are numerous tests that you do to determine gastrointestinal health. The common ones that is used in Western medicine is an endoscopy. And an endoscopy is where a doctor would take a tube, an ENT specialist, and they would push a tube down your throat and with a camera and look at different things. There are tests that can be done where they actually would look for things like H. pylori and that type of thing. Then you have colonoscopies, which I'm not too really a big fan of, simply because it is an invasive procedure. Colonoscopy is where a doctor will take, they have to put you under, so you have to go under an anesthetic, they have to put you to sleep, and they will have to take a camera, a guided camera, and they insert it through the rectum, and they go all the way up to the intestines, and they look for various things. Why I don't like it is because you need to be very careful, because it is a procedure that can end up with causing you problems. You could end up with the intestines being punctured and a number of things. The people who do it, of course, will tell you, well, you know, but they all say that. So it's not something I would readily recommend for someone. Now, there's a test that we do at Batson and Associates called live nutritional blood cell analysis. There's also something known as dark field microscopy. Now, that I like to talk about gastrointestinal health. We also do the magnetic resonance imaging. And there are a lot of persons that have those machines now. But having a machine and getting a reading and understanding how to interpret the reading and put in the corrective protocol is two completely different things. And that is the difference with myself. I mean, not boasting, because I remember someone telling me recently that they wanted to do the test by us, but our test is a particular price. And they were finding someone else who had it cheaper. So they were protesting about the price that we had. And I simply told them, I said, listen to me, if you want to go to A and have your test done, and you claim that they have the same machines that we have, then you could go right ahead. They may have the same machines, but they do not have the expertise that we have, or worse yet, the expertise that I have. So that's what you're paying for. You understand? And that was just a side point there to help persons to understand that. But the point I was making with the blood analysis is that when we do the dry blood, we look at something known as biological terrain. Now, chronologically, you could be 20 or 30 or 40 or 60 or 100, but biologically, you could be younger, you could be older. And that is what that test would show me. Because based on my experience, people like myself, people like Ms. Karishma Ramdan, let me say a pleasant good morning to one of our senior consultants, Ms. Karishma Ramdan. Also a pleasant good morning to Mr. Paul Green, one of our senior consultants in St. James. So Mr. Green, Ms. Ramdan, and myself are primarily, we have some new persons joining us very shortly. They just completed their training and that type of thing, to be consultants, especially in blood microscopy. So that, in essence, would give me an indication of the condition of your intestines. Why I like it is because it gives me an in-depth look at things like different pathogens, things like candida and those type of things. So it does give me an indication, better than an endoscopy and a colonoscopy, as to dealing with your biological terrain, based on the explanation I gave in the beginning, where the mosquitoes is not my concern.
Pleasant good morning to you, Brother D. And a pleasant good morning to you, Doctor.
Yes. Yeah. So
right,
I'll cover that there. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. All right, so my friend is asking here, do you have the chlorophyll in stock, and what size bottle?
We have it in stock, and it is in a 16 ounce bottle. Yeah, 16 ounces.
Could CMOS be used for someone with sciatica pain? My friend is in bad pain, and the strong pain medication prescribed is not helping.
Well, if you have sciatica, and they have to be recommending pain medication for your strong pain medication, then you need some sort of physical manipulation. CMOS would help you, but you need some other things, man. Inflammation formula would help you. There's a particular omega that we use it and it has astaxanthin in it. That also helps. And that helps with pain almost immediately. White tea is also a good remedy for pain. It helps a lot. That's a product that we carry as well to correct that situation. The CMOS would help, but you need to address that from a more holistic perspective. All right, we had a question from Ms. Alberta Francis. Good morning, Dr. Batson. Could you use iOptics formula for floaters? Yes, you can. You can use the iOptics formula for floaters, as well as the MSM and the optimizer. Because floaters are thin when the lens, so let's say your lens is supposed to be 2 inches in thickness. Floaters are where the lens, parts of the lens are very thinner. So it's less thicker. And as a result of that, you get floaters. So people who have that would need to use things like collagen and hyaluronic acid, the iOptics formula, MSM formula, optimizer, those type of things. Okay?
All right. So next up on the board, how effective is charcoal, and what if you take it with a glass of water?
Charcoal is good enough. I'll tell you something with charcoal. Charcoal could, some of y'all could kill yourself with that. Simply because charcoal, even if it is a cleanser, charcoal behaves like this. You will use charcoal and you do not have proper hydration in your body. And this is something I always tell persons. You could end up with healing crisis because all it is want to go and take the people cleanse and your body is not ready for a cleanse. What do I mean? Remember in the beginning, I was telling you that if you are dehydrated, so if you're dehydrated and you go and you have a lot of toxins in your body and you go and take charcoal, you could end up with healing crisis. The charcoal is not sufficient to give you the cleanse that you want in the sense to give you that total cleanse. So what you will do, you will just raise some toxins in the body, send it in the bloodstream, elevate your blood pressure, cause yourself to get headache, make you get sick, all kind of thing. So you need to be careful with that. You need to be careful.
All right, 625-2759 or 624-7729. Those are the numbers for you to call, my friends. And of course, you can send your messages to 333-9950. Someone is asking, how can you cure or treat severe acid reflux?
If you have severe acid reflux, you need to look at your diet and your lifestyle. You should not be eating spicy foods. You should not be eating a lot of heated foods, so highly seasoned foods. You should not be eating and drinking simultaneously. You should not be drinking cold water. You should introduce some sort of tea into your regime. No milk, no sugar, hot tea. The possibility exists you may have some structural problems, so you may need to sort out a chiropractor or a massage therapist to structurally correct the alimentary canal. Batson and Associates, we use something called Digestive Balance, very good product. That actually helps. We also have something called Digestive Restore, also a very good product as well. And we also carry a tea called Gastro Health tea, very good. So those are some of the things that you could actually use to correct the situation. If you're not a hypertensive person, you can also use some baking soda, maybe like about a half teaspoon of baking soda in 8 ounces of water first thing in the morning. And that will also give you some assistance there. Okay.
All right, let's take a call here quickly. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Batson and Stephanie.
Okay, what you just do us a favor now, my dear. Just either remove yourself from your radio or turn off your radio. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Oh, you try. Oh.
How can I treat multiple sclerosis and its symptoms? Well, I heard your allergies before and they were very helpful. But what can I do to reverse the problem?
What is the problem you're referring to in particular?
All the symptoms of multiple sclerosis, the brain fog, the joint pain.
With MS, right? Multiple sclerosis?
Yeah.
Okay, good, no problem. Okay, well, you can listen off it, and I'll let you know. All right. So, as she said, so she heard the analogies, right? So, when you're dealing with MS, so the first thing we have to do with an MS patient or anyone who has any inflammatory disease, we need to deal with your gut, right? So we need to start to address gut health, and the healthier we get your gut, the better off you will be, because 70% of the immune system lies in your gut. So, if I were to give you a protocol now, this is what it's going to look like. Get yourself some olive oil, and you take 2 tablespoons of olive oil on an empty stomach every day. So you could use it in the morning and use it in the afternoon. Now, I do not know what your water intake is, but let me help you calculate. So using your body weight, divide your body weight by 2 in ounces. And when you get the figure, check and see if you drink that water on a daily basis. And if you have been drinking that amount of water for minimally 3 months, if you have not been doing that, then you're going to have to do a water cleanse. And a water cleanse involves, ideally, alkaline water, ideally. If you can't get that, if there's some sort of financial constraint, whatever the case may be, budget, then get a filter and filter your water properly and drink that water. But your objective is to bring your water intake on a daily basis to the calculation of your body weight divided by 2 in ounces. And you have to do that consistently for the next month if you have not been doing that. Now, during that, you can use the olive oil, 1 tablespoon in the morning, 1 tablespoon in the evening. Good? What you may have to do, you may have to visit Batson & Associates, or you can call for delivery and ask for the mineral formula with silver in it. And you also want the inflammation formula. And what you're going to do with the inflammation formula and the silver formula, you're going to take 1 tablespoon of inflammation formula in 8 ounces of water. And to that same 8 ounces of water, you're adding 2 ounces of the silver formula. And you're going to drink that in the morning and in the evening. Now, when we say morning and evening, the morning time is usually the time that you would get up. Now, if you are not a hypertensive individual, I suggest you get some baking soda. The Arm & Hammer brand is good. You can use the Bob Red Mills because people have a misconception that baking soda has aluminum in it. Chemistry-wise or chemically-wise, baking soda cannot have aluminum in it because of the chemistry of what baking soda is, which is sodium bicarbonate, right? People mix up baking soda with baking powder. So baking powder has aluminum in it, not baking soda, all right? So if you do not have a hypertensive problem, then I suggest what you do is you take 1 teaspoon to ½ teaspoon of baking soda first thing in the morning. And an hour after is when you're going to use the inflammation formula and the silver, okay? And your olive oil is going to be 1 teaspoon of the olive oil morning and evening. Now, if you dehydrated, keep in mind that you can use the olive oil, you can use the baking soda, you can use the water, but you cannot use the inflammation and the silver until the month of the water cleanse. And a water cleanse would mean that you would be drinking anywhere between 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses, or as I said, your body weight divided by 2 in ounces over the 1 month period. Subsequent to that is when you're going to start things like your Santulan. What I suggest you do, you could go to the pharmacy and tell them you want a probiotic. And what you do with the probiotic is you take 1 of the probiotic before you go to bed in the night. And that is your start to deal with that particular situation. For more information, then you could always contact me or the office, and I could always, dot your I's and cross your T's. But I try to be to give as much information there as possible. So I hope that was relevant and valuable to you. And of course, if you need more information, you could always give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. And let me just take a question from Facebook here. 2 persons. Mr. Dave Cooper is asking, good morning, Dr. Batson. What can I use to cure bacteria in the stomach? So it depends on the bacteria. If it is, you're referring to things like H. pylori, which is a troublesome fella. If you get H. pylori and a lot of problems, and antibiotics alone doesn't fix that. That could come back and it could become acute and it could cause a lot of problems for you. So at Batson Associates, what do we offer for that boy? You could use the advanced chlorophyll. You can use the silver formula. That silver formula is amazing as it relates to helping individuals with pathogens, because colloidal silver has the ability to immobilize and kill pathogens on contact. Any pathogens that it has ever been put against. I'm speaking about SARS, Ebola, HIV. Silver has the ability to kill it. And I didn't say that. Go do the research. There are a lot of research out there, or there is a lot of research out there. So you're going to have to use that. You may have to get some of the gastrointestinal teas, that type of thing, to start to correct that situation. Okay? That's Mr. Cooper. Miss Trisha C. Noel. Pleasant good morning. What can you do for someone whose fallopian tubes are blocked and has polyps in the womb? That's easy to fix, man. That's a walk in the park. What you're going to have to do, Miss Noel, again, your water. So check your hydration. If you are hydrated properly, again, your body weight divided by 2 in ounces. What we suggest you do, you're going to have to get some female balance, women's formula, cis and fibroid formula, and we're going to have to give you some enzymes to remove that plaque, because usually when you have buildup or blockage in fallopian tubes, it has a lot of fibrin. So that's what we're going to have to use to actually break that up. And then after that, you should be fine there. All right. So women's formula, inflammation formula, silver formula, female balance, some apple cider vinegar will give you some help there. No? But you're going to have to mix the apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar mixed with the inflammation formula, the silver and the chlorophyll. All right. And you should get some assistance where that is concerned. Mr. Dominic, sir, over to you.
All right. So next up on the board, Doc, what can we use for hyperthyroidism?
Hyperthyroidism. Now, if you have been told that you have hyperthyroidism, which is high thyroid function, it means you have some challenges there. So again, with the analogy that I use, so hyperthyroidism is your mosquito, right? So what is your stagnant water? Your stagnant water would be your endocrine system. But going a little further is going to be, again, your gastrointestinal system. Also, your stress levels. Your cortisol level is going to be very high. Do you know one of the ways to reduce cortisol? Exercise is one way. There's another way, but I'm a bit hesitant to say it because, you know, people might look at Dr. Batson in a different light. So I wouldn't say it. But exercise. So anything that increases endorphins in your body is something that could actually help reduce your stress level or cortisol levels. I could say the other one because we're all big people here. The next one is sex. So, you know, that's something that actually increase endorphins or the feel-good chemicals in your body, and it could actually reduce your stress levels, your cortisol levels, and that could actually help in a number of issues that persons have. As it relates to hyperthyroidism, what you can use, something that's actually very good for your thyroid and is very accessible, is coconut oil, the cold pressed coconut oil. So you take about a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of coconut oil every day. There's a thyroid formula that we carry at Batson and Associates, and we also have a wide variety of products and protocol. You see, what makes the difference with Batson and Associates as opposed to anybody else is the protocol. It has to be specific, because our protocols are specifically designed in a particular way to address, again, not the mosquito, but the stagnant water. Keep that in mind. So the same thing with the caller who called regarding the MS. That's why I gave you that protocol, so that it begins to make correction to the stagnant water or the root cause of the problem.
All right, so someone is asking here now, is nano silver better than colloidal silver?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say no, you know. I mean, they say because of the technology that they put it, nano silver, the particles are finer, that type of thing. I use both. I recommend both. And it's effective. Remember, the studies that they did, the studies was on colloidal silver, and it was done on 10 pp's, which is 10 parts per million. So they are silver. The one we carry is 50 parts per million. I have used 5,000 parts per million silver already. I've used 10,000 parts per million silver for myself personally. And, you know, I tell people silver used to kill people that have been dead already. I don't think that anybody drink more silver than me. It really is an amazing thing. For those of you who have discovered it, hooray to you and your family. Those of you who have not, quite unfortunate. Those of you who, you know, there are a lot of stigma to a lot of things out there. And it sometimes it baffles me how people, like olive oil. I remember meeting somebody and just having a casual conversation, and she was telling me that she's hypertensive. So I told her, go and buy some olive oil and start to drink olive oil. And she was like, but isn't olive oil bad oil? And isn't that bad fat? Isn't that going to raise my cholesterol? And I was like, whoa, no. Ignorance is not bliss. There are healthy fats, and olive oil is one of them. Coconut oil is also one. And that's why we have so many people with vascular dementia and so many people with Alzheimer's, because you don't know about that. Remember, our diet, the human diet, is a diet that's supposed to have what? A lot of seeds in it. Why are seeds good for you? When you plant a seed, what do you get?
Trees.
Good. So if a seed could give you a tree, It means seeds carry what in them? Life. They carry life force. So anything that carries life force, if you ingest it, it is going to give what? Life. And that's the problem with a lot of people. A lot of the food that you're eating is dead. Dead food can only give death. So processed food, soft drink, sugar could only give death. You need to have living food in your diet. Seeds, nuts, grains, things like almonds, cashew, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, life. Sprouts, life. Vegetables, life. Fruits, life. Living foods. The enzymes are still intact. The problem with mankind is that we eat too much processed. Processed foods are dead. It has no life in it. So as my good friend Big Mike say, or he does say actually, living food, living body. Dead food, dead body. Simple, eh? Ice cream, dead food. I know I burst some people bubble today. So if you're eating your dead food, eat your dead. Eat your dead food once in a while, not all the time.
All right, let's take a call here quickly. Caller, good afternoon to you.
Morning. I just called in something with question, right?
Yes, sir.
But I just wanted to find out. I have something they call, I don't know if you have any idea about something called flowers under the seed.
Yeah.
It's a tree, and it's boiled up and dry it and drink it. Is that safe to drink?
We're talking about what they call seed underleaf?
Well, it's something, but I do this. Is that true that little flowers, and they call it flowers under the seed?
Okay, that must be seed underleaf for now. Now, the thing is, what I tell persons with bush, as I say, I tell people, if you have experience with drinking bush, if you're following what I'm saying, then I have no problem with that. My thing is, you need to be careful. So if you are experienced in using it or using bush, well, then go right ahead. If you're not experienced, then you need to be careful. So what I tell persons, if you're inexperienced and you want to try a little bush, nobody is saying nothing wrong, but take a little bit. Take a little piece now. If you understand what I'm saying. Take a small amount, steep it, and drink it.
What I need to do, I need to call your office and make an appointment with you, right?
All right, boss. No problem.
Okay, thank you very much, right?
You're welcome, sir.
Someone is asking, Doc, about back pain.
Mm-hmm.
Upper and lower back pain. What can they use?
Okay, all right. So that's a good question. Let me touch on that. Now, and that's one thing, I mean, even though I'm only 40, this year, God's willing, if I live, I will see 41. And I tell people, I don't know what back pain is. And when people talking about back pain, now people will say, Dr. Batson young still, so he must be back and ready to give him trouble. I pray to God I never have those problems because I am the type of person, I tell persons, you need to work your core. Now, what is your core? Your core basically comprises of your spine. So you're looking at cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and you know the last bones there, your coccyx bone, right? Or you call it your bottom bone, right? And it also comes to the front with your rib cage, your ribs, and your abdominal muscles. So that is your core, right? Now, people who have back pain usually are people who have very weak cores. So the question is, how do you strengthen your core? So usually, if you have back pain, it means you need to pay attention to your core. Now, if you have done corrective work, if you went to physiotherapists, if you also went to chiropractors, fine. But you also need, from a dietary perspective, to put things to help heal your back and, you know, put back certain structures in the back, like synovial fluid, that type of thing. Because we know, based on anatomy and physiology, all your lumbar vertebrae, all your vertebrae don't touch each other, right? You notice there's a cushioning inside of there, synovial fluid, and it has some jelly in there, right? So that is to cushion. So it means your diet must be one that helps to build back those things. Hence the reason I was talking about the CMOS. So what you should do is at least try and do, you know what planking is? No. Dominic, you know what a plank is? The exercise.
Yeah, the thing that's taking the longest amount of time. 30 seconds seems like an hour.
Right, good. So if you start to practice planking, you would get some results from your back pain. Now, that does not apply to everyone. So what you need to do if you're having pain, back pain especially, you need to start to do some sort of exercise. Now, I know people might be saying, but my back hurting me, how this man expect me to do exercise? Listen to me. Start to make up your mind to deal with the pain now, and let's deal with the pain and get rid of the pain. Because if you leave it, and that's the problem with a lot of y'all, you're coward and you just leave the pain and, oh God, I'm afraid to exercise, it's hurting. Listen to me. Take the pain now. Because if you leave it and you leave it to the point where you become immobile, you ever see some people walking and they bend over, they're completely hunched over? And I just wonder about how it is these people allow themselves to get so. Those problems begin gradually. And a lot of people have, look, I've met people with scoliosis. Some of their parents want licks. You have a child, the child has scoliosis. You never buy a brace for the child. You never carry, because people with scoliosis, which is where your spine is twist or bent, they're supposed to be dealt with from the age of children. As very young, so you start to deal with it. You don't want to wait until you're a big man, big woman to go and deal with scoliosis, because it is going to give you problems the older you get. So if you know you have a young child and the child has scoliosis, start to deal with that one time. And if you know you reach a certain age and you have arthritis, you seem like your back hunching over, do not leave it because you're in pain, because it's better you deal with the pain now and go and deal it and let it deal with it than you leave the pain and you end up in worse pain. It has some people cannot raise up. And that is because you went in a wheelchair, you get a stick, do not get in the habit of getting accustomed to those things. Don't start to use walker and walking stick. Walking stick don't matter nothing. As I always tell people. You can imagine you well dressed to go somewhere. You put on your lady, you put on a nice black dress, you're going to a little cocktail event or a little dinner, and you ought to be walking with this ridiculous stick. That show off the whole outfit. The stick what? Black, it matching your dress? Where you going with that? So you need to start to deal with it one time. As I always tell people, a walking stick and a big belly don't match with nothing. So try not to get anything on them in your life. When your belly big, you're uncomfortable, your shirt don't fit you, you're dressing, wearing properly. People seeing the belly before they see you. That's not right. So start to deal with that back situation. Get all your sea moss. Do not put any milk and sugar in the sea moss, please. You put a little banana, you put some oats. You blend that and tell me something. Or they will write back and say, Dr. Batson, boy, that thing is the best thing I ever tasted in my life. And the most important thing, it helps your musculoskeletal system. You know, you have any joint pain, back pain, get some inflammation formula. The office full of inflammation formula right now. Get some of the omega with the astaxanthin in it. Get some of the stem cells and start to take care of yourself. All right, Mr. Dominic?
All right. So let's take on Mike. So we have about 7 minutes again for the program today.
Yes, let me know how we time running.
All right, no problem. 7 minutes, and that's the time for today, my friends. Doc does a CBC reading of 5.50 for white blood cells. Is that considered low?
Send me back to school, day boy.
Same.
Yeah, a white blood cell. Count up how much?
5.50.
I'm going to have to check that, and I can't remember that off the top of my head.
The ranges,
No, I can't remember the ranges. And some labs even carry different ranges too, you know.
Correct.
But let me just talk in general. So if you have a low blood cell count, it means that situations associated, and is it that they made reference to white blood cells or just blood cells in general?
Or white blood cells.
No, if you have a low white blood cell count, that's cause for concern because it means your immune system is low. If you have a very high white blood cell count, it's also a cause for concern because it means your body is fighting infection. If it's temporary, no problem. But if you have consistent high white blood cells, it can point to cancer to it, because people who have very high white blood cells count, you usually find that in a lot of cancer patients. So either one is bad. If it's too high, if it's too low. All right. In terms of correcting it, there are a number of things that we can do to actually correct that situation at Batson Associates. Interestingly, the mineral formula with the colloidal silver is actually very good for that situation. Very, very good, actually. So that's something that you could look forward to.
All right, let's take this call here. Paula, good afternoon.
Hi, Dr. Batson again. Can you just share a little bit on what spirit of serpentine is good for? And is it good for pathogens, if at all? Can you just share a little bit on that, please?
What is, just wait, repeat that again, sorry?
Spirit of serpentine.
Spirit of
Spirit of
Is one
turpentine.
good to take for pathogens or not?
All right. Well, the thing is, I may know that by a different name. You know the biological name for it? Or the scientific name?
No, she's gone there though.
Oh, she gone. Okay. Spirit of turpentine, boy. I will have to research that, you know. You know, they say after God is Google. So let me take a quick Google search here. This is something I normally don't do, but let me see. Spirit of turpentine. Let me see what the spirit. Let me see. Right. See, after God is Google is everything. Okay. Turpentine. Let me see. Oh, so this is actually C10H16. Oh, okay. So this apparently something that is prepared. Let me see. All right, I like this question. I'll learn in here. Okay, so it's apparently it is what I was trying to do. I was trying to get the name of the plant itself, but due to time, I wouldn't be able to get it. But based on what I'm seeing so far, it seems to be something good. It seems to be a plant that is they usually use alcohol, which is what they normally use in most medicine to draw out the components. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do for you, I'm going to do some research on it because I don't like to say things without being clear in what I'm saying. So I'm going to do some research. I'm going to look at the genus, whichever family belongs to that type of thing. And next week, please God, that's a autonomic nervous response, you know. So that's the autonomic nervous system, which is sympathetic and parasympathetic. So it means you have a nerve problems. Your nerves want some addressing. You maybe the fight or flight aspect of the body is more going to fight or flight as opposed to, so that is more parasympathetic. So we need to do some work on the nerve, on the central nervous system there. That's easy to fix. That's easy to fix.
All right.
Someone is saying something about no visual or audio. Okay. Yes, Mr. Dominic, you go ahead.
All right. Let's see. Next up, good morning, Dr. Batson. What could be used when your muscles feel like it is roped or wrapped up around your upper chest and around your back? It feels very painful. I'm assuming tight muscles in the chest area.
Okay. If you have tight, the thing is, if you maybe need a massage. When I say one time take a massage. So that actually has some very good massage therapists, I must admit. Watch me, I am a fan of massages, can I tell you? Keep in mind, people, we're talking about decent massages, yeah? Just saying. The next thing people think Dr. Batson advocating something else. Massage, proper massage therapist is actually a very good thing. So if you haven't given yourself, I know we know COVID, and because of COVID, a lot of people not operating and things, but you know things starting back, try and see if you could get yourself a massage. And then after that, you could come and get some of the alkagen water. If you are someone who consumes proper amounts of water, then you could have the alkagen water, some santulan, some circulation tea. Pu'er tea is a very good tea. Take what I'm telling you. PU hyphen ERH. Love that tea. And have some tea and some inflammation formula. You see, the thing is, let me explain something to you. It is always good to take care of yourself. But it's always good to give yourself a little, you know, like how you just give your vehicle. Just recently, I carried my vehicle for them to change the oil and filter and some other thing they need to change on it. And after driving the vehicle, it was driving good all the time, but I found it behaved even more impressive, simply because it got a service. So the problem with a lot of you guys is you need to have your service done. And you haven't done a service. When last you take a cleanse? When last you take a detox? We have 365 and a quarter days in the year, a third or whatever they say. Every day, some of you eat 3 times a day. Check what you drink and that type of thing. When is the last time you take a cleanse? You know how much? That's why you feel sick, because your body is all kind of rubbish inside of it. And that's what you need to do. So when you use Santulan, one of the first things you experience is feel lighter. Feel like you could go and run a race. Simply because you have now cleansed and detoxified kidney, colon, bloodstream, liver, lymphatic system, skin, and your lungs. That obviously is going to benefit you. Obviously. Anyone is going to get benefit from that. Okay?
All right. Well, Doc, that's it for today. That's our time.
Yes, sir. So let me just say my goodbyes quickly. Mr. Joseph is asking about the prostate tea. No, we don't have any prostate tea as yet. We're getting teas this week, God's willing. So the office will let you know. And those telephone numbers, again, you can give us a visit on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That is 314-9975. Those locations, we are located on the first floor of Money Talks building in Montrose, Chavannes. We're also on the corner of Ramsonwood Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Davie, as well as Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James. And the Triangle building in Tobago is Scarborough Triangle building there. Those telephone numbers again, 222-8261, 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. As we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Mr. Dominic, sir, always a pleasure. I look forward to next week, please God.
Always, man. Always a pleasure.
Be in touch. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Facebook family. A pleasant good morning to you guys. I will not be staying too much longer on Facebook. Thank you very much, Ms. Sharp. Facebook, y'all was, well, I'm now getting to see y'all. I have 123 comments, 257 reactions, comments, and shares. So thank you very much for that. Today I'll be doing something with the 7 Days Adventist. I'm not too sure if that's what we'll be doing, if we'll be able to go live with that. Well, most likely we'll be able to go live because I'm here already. So Shakil is going to work me to the bone, as he usually does, because he's going to ensure that he gets his content, which is excellent. What's that, sir?
Is it possible to the Zoom link? I can put it on Facebook or something?
What we're going to have to do, we're going to speak to them first to find out. And once we speak to the organizers, and it's not a problem, we will do that for you guys. Okay?
Some people from the US could jump on.
Yes, and some of you guys from the US could jump on and that kind of thing. Okay? So Facebook family, always a pleasure. Okay, you're here, sorry. I'm watching here. As we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Overseas family, I'm working on you guys beginning to get your product and to start to do your consultations. Those of you with your feedbacks, please, yes, Ms. Henry, those numbers again, 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That is 314-9975. I am Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director of Batson and Associates, and it is always a pleasure to be here with you guys. Miss Hannah Alexander, good morning to you. Justin Victor, good morning to you. I saw you had a question there regarding your son. All right, so I'm going to go through some of those and see if I can answer you guys off the air maybe. But please, and I'll see if I can get the Zoom for you guys to join me later with that other program that I have to do. So God bless. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday morning. Remember, this meal that you're having today, make sure and have some living food in there, right? Some salads, healthy food, a little piece of avocado in season, get a little zaboka as they call it, not too much on the pie and the meat, and, have a little salad in the mix too. God bless and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, bye, guys. Bye-bye.